What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. As always, bringing you great guests, great content, great resources, just all around great conversation. My next guest is a highly educated professional, own a profitable consulting firm, successful career, now an author, a speaker, and a higher consciousness coach. Please welcome D. Neil Elliott. Neil, thank you for joining us today. We have been waiting a long time to have this conversation, so I am pumped.
Oh, thank you, Deanna. Me too.
I know.
Right back at you.
Life happened a couple times and that we're here. We made it happen. So before we start recording, you're really telling me a lot of depth around your story, and it really hit home, hit my heart, and just kind of like one of the reasons why I started my podcast was just to put that those good stories, those inspirational stories out there to help people along their journey. So perhaps you can kind of you can repeat what you said to me, to the audience, or you can, change it, shorten it, whatever you'd like to do. But I think it's important for people to hear a little bit about what you went through, to where you were, to what got you to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with this. Born in 1960, so I'm currently 62. Professional engineer with an MBA, and I worked in the corporate world for over 30 years.
Okay.
And from 2002, so I went into consulting in 2002, and life becomes about work. Yeah. And if you don't work, you don't get paid. You take holidays, you don't get paid. So for me, it became about work. Yeah. And slowly from 2002 to 2015, I slowly drove myself into this really deep and dark, despondent depression.
That's terrible.
And yeah, no one knew I was there, of course, because, we all wear this facade. We can project whatever we want.
Yeah.
And so I thought at the time, okay, my wife didn't know I was there. No one knew. So in 2015, I was really in this deep, dark, despondent depression. And I thought what I'd do is I'd pick up some spiritual books and some scientific books to try and see if I could get myself out of that funk.
Yeah.
And so I spent a couple of years doing that. And in November 2017, our house had been in the market for 5 years and it finally sold. I was coming to the end of my road. I was really deeply depressed. I felt like no matter what I did, I wasn't happy. I was totally miserable inside. And so my wife jumped on a plane to go to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, to visit family and friends. I sat down at this little 1-bedroom rental apartment, planned out my suicide, crafted my suicide note. And I was just done with life.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it's just, it's hard to describe how that depression just sets in, and it seems like no matter what you do, life just becomes this misery.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like carry on for another, 20, 30 years like that, or just end it and be done with it. And I came to the conclusion I'm going to end it. A week prior to doing that, though, some information came to me that promised to liberate me from my thinking if I studied it and followed it. So I was planning out my suicide for about 3 months to make sure my wife would be okay financially, get rid of all the crap I accumulated over a lifetime to ease her burden after I was gone. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll give this material a chance, because if I commit suicide, I won't be able to do that. I was looking for any sliver of hope to hang on. And if it doesn't work, no problem. I can always pull the trigger. So I embarked on that journey. I studied it. And a year later, almost to the day, I woke up, my depression was totally gone. I was full of this inner peace and love and joy. And I felt totally prosperous and abundant. And nothing had changed in my environment, but I had totally transformed my consciousness. And I want to share that with everybody in the world. And in 13 months after I began the process, I went into these 2 meditations, 2 days apart. And the spiritual energy flowed in through my head and it filled my body, and then it totally enveloped me in unconditional love. And we don't have the human language to actually describe it. It was so beautiful. It filled me. I felt non-judged. I felt I didn't care what aches and pains my body had. I didn't care what illnesses it had. I felt totally supported. And I didn't care what anybody had done to me in the past or what I had done. It was just so incredible. And I just wanted to stay there forever. I came out of that meditation. 2 days later, I had the exact same meditation. And at that point, I knew that the new knowledge I gained and the process I followed was our truth. And I wanted to share that with everybody. I thought I got to get on the rooftops and share this. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to be looked at like an idiot, so I won't do that. It took me a couple of years to figure out the best way to do that is to share my story and the exact process I went through to get me to this point. And so I wrote a book. And so that's the story of how and why we're having this conversation today.
Yeah. What a story of is redemption? Is that the word I'm looking for? Like where you've just like kind of totally turned your life around and was able to, I mean, that you were in a really bad place. If you had drafted a suicide note, that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, no, it was, and I kept that suicide note. I needed that. That was a benchmark for how I felt because I was really clear in the suicide note how I felt and why I was doing it because I wanted to ensure that, my wife would know, and if she wanted to share it with family, she could, but so that she'd know that it wasn't her fault. It's got nothing to do with her. It's all got to do with me. And, I can really empathize now with people that are in these states of depression and kind of get to this point. But I can tell you, you don't have to be in that state to embark on this journey. And I tell you, if anybody can do this, and if you're willing to follow the process and gain this new knowledge, you can totally transform your life, no matter where you are. It's magical.
What, when you shared this with your wife, when you finally started talking about like, where you were at and where, what you went through, what was her response to all that?
She couldn't believe that, I was in that state. And then, she was, really questioning how could she miss something like that?
Yeah, I bet.
And, and again, it's like we're such great actors in our environment. We can hide all kinds of things. You can never accurately judge the inner reality of another person. Someone who's really affable and kind and considerate might be an entire mess inside. You just do not know.
Yeah, that's very true. So, I mean, it's kind of like you had an awakening too, like you were in one state and you went through this process to be more awake and more alive and more fulfilled and feeling more loved, which is where I feel like we need a lot more of that in this world.
Hey Dad, how you been? What's going on?
Well, not too much. Spring cleaning time.
Well, did you weed whack? Did you get the carpets clean? 'Cause I know Mom's all about that, so I want to make sure we're ready to go.
Well, yeah. I got the gutters clean. That's about it.
That's it? Well, when I said weed whack and all that in the carpet, I kind of meant like the MANSCAPED 4.0. It's a little more personal.
I understand. Yeah.
Works awesome.
Have you tried this?
I have tried it and it works wonders. It really does. Yeah.
Okay. This is pretty cool. And see, it comes with an LED light, and I understand it's waterproof.
It is waterproof. It works well. I tried it. It's a good product. It's a great product. I've tried other ones, and they're just so noisy, and they don't cut very well.
Wow, that's really good, Mike. Where do we get this?
Well, you can get it at MANSCAPED.com, and while you're at MANSCAPED.com, you know that we got a code, so we get it cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of a discount can we get?
We can get it at label-free 20, and it gives you 20% off the product, and it gives us free shipping. And I've tried some of the other products there because they got these all new premier products. Like this here, it's a deodorant.
Now, is it for underarm or other places or?
I tried, but it's for the underarm.
Okay.
That's where it's at. And you can also get it at manscaped.com. Same code. We use the code again. Label free 20. Label free 20%
off and free shipping.
Free shipping. I mean, how can you go wrong with that, right?
Go ahead.
What's the name of your book? Do you have that with you?
Yeah, I do. So the book's called A Higher Road. Cleanse your consciousness to transcend the ego and ascend spiritually. a 7-step process to inner peace, joy, love, abundance, and prosperity.
I love that. Okay, yeah, okay, I'll be reading that. Anything can help. I think I'm a little bit there. I've kind of changed my views on things and have just come to a very peaceful place. But I feel like it takes something hard that you're dealing with in your life to decide if you want to make a change and make life better for yourself. Because you can wake up every day and either choose to be happy, or you can wake up every day and just choose to be miserable, right? And then it takes some effort. So, I mean, can you tell us a little bit more about the process and just like what you went through, like the ups and, because I'm sure it wasn't like a straight line, right? It was up and down, going through different emotions and different maybe revelations throughout these meditations, maybe.
Yeah. So, so for me, what happened was that it happens imperceptibly and it happens slowly, and it comes on unknowingly. And then you have these moments of inspiration and insight.
Yeah.
And it's, so we become trapped. We are prisoners of our own patterns of thinking and feeling that we have programmed ourselves from childhood to adulthood and then reinforced. And those patterns of thinking and feeling that we program our subconscious mind and our unconscious mind are like concrete. You actually need a process to get in there, break them up, and dissolve them. And you can't just do it with willpower alone. So you need this process. You need to gain this new knowledge about how and why personality develops the way it does, and the truth of who we really are. And when you gain this new knowledge and you start this process, what happens is that when you go through this, it happens imperceptibly and slowly. And then you have these little moments of insight. And at the 7-month mark, I got this little tingling at the top of my head, and I didn't know what it was. It was the size of a dime. And I just kept going on with the process. It felt weird. But that event, that grew to probably about 4 inches or so at the 9-month mark in diameter. And at that point, I knew that what I was doing was I was building new brain cells impressed with new knowledge that operated at a higher vibrational frequency. And that, when you carry on with this process, then what happens is you get assistance with this cleansing that you can actually feel and know that this is happening. And today you could put a bowl over my head below my ears, and that's how big that opening is. It's just been this evolving process, since 2018, December 2018 is when I had the 2 meditations.
Yeah.
And it's magical, for lack of any better word. It is totally magical. It totally transformed how you view the world. Like I don't judge anybody anymore for anything that they do, right? Nothing.
That's a good place.
I understand. I understand how and why everybody does everything. And I understand there's a purpose to it. And so I don't judge anybody. Doesn't mean I'm going to necessarily agree with what they're doing, but I don't judge them for it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I mean, and that's a great place to be when you are vibrating at a higher level, because, I think that's, especially in today's world with all the stuff that's going on around us, you have to be able to keep yourself in a good place, or else that's really going to impact your life, impact your emotions, your quality of life. And, there's been one crisis after the other. And, once you start raising your vibration, you kind of start seeing through the bullshit, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, to put it just bluntly, to see through all this garbage. With your book, have you talked to, or anybody in your family, maybe your wife, that has gone through this process, that now is experiencing these same things that you are?
Yes, I've talked to a number of people, and there's different ways you can go about doing this. This one made sense to me because what this does is, this process I used is based in science, things we know in science today. And as an engineer, I like to, observe, measure, calculate, those kinds of things. So because it has this basis in science, it bridges this gap between spirituality and science in a way that enabled me to understand.
Okay.
And so there might be many different ways to this same kind of, enlightenment. But this, because it's so rational and logical and believable because of what we know today, it made this bridge a lot easier for me to grasp it and understand it. And then you're going to learn new things about, creation, of why we're here, how and why, what was before the Big Bang, the impetus for the Big Bang, what happened at the time of the Big Bang, and then how we use the tools of the universe moment by moment to create every event and every experience that comes into our lives.
Wow.
You are totally responsible for everything that comes to your life, the things you love and the things you merely endure.
Yeah.
And so when you can understand these dynamics and how we use these tools through our thinking and our feelings, then you have the opportunity to consciously say, I want that to be different and I want to create a different life. And here's the tool now. Here's the process and here's the tool that I can use to do that. And when you go through and you break up this stuff and rebuild your subconscious, you come into alignment with where we come from. And when you do that, your life totally transforms.
I love it. Oh my goodness, beautiful. I think that that's amazing, and who doesn't want to transform their life for the better? I know there's always room for improvement, but what is the story? Where can people find you, connect with you, find your book, and just learn a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is dneilelliott.com. An easy way to get there is ahigherroad.com. The book is available globally wherever books are sold. You can get it on Amazon. It's in print or it's in ebook form, Kindle, Apple, Nook, or Kobo.
Excellent. You guys, I'm going to put all those links in the show notes. So if you've connected with Neil today and you love what he's talking about and you can, sympathize or empathize with what he's been through to where he's at, go click one of those links, reach out to him, go buy the book, check it out, because we could all use some improvement in our lives, especially if we're going through something hard. Or if you know someone that's going through something tough, buy the book for them and see them transform their life, because you could be saving a life at the same time. So we're getting a little bit close on time. What is there anything new that's going to be happening for you? Any new projects that you'd like to share with the audience?
There's another book that'll be coming. I haven't started it yet, but it's been this started this in 2017. We're now in 2022. I've been at this now for 4 years, and it's this ever evolving new knowledge and new information and new insights. So I want to provide more depth and more insight to people in terms of what they're really going to experience as they carry on with this journey and what the rewards are. The rewards are totally amazing.
Yeah.
And as more and more of us do this, I personally believe we will bring this world into a new era of love and peace.
I completely agree. And a lot of my friends that I'm connected with on social media and just, in my general life, we have got the same, we're on the same page with that. I guess a question comes to mind just for, the sake of the audience. Is there anything worth having is not going to come quickly, right? And you have to work at it. If someone's thinking like, oh, I want to vibrate at a higher level, I want to tap into this new consciousness, this higher consciousness, is there a fast way to get there?
No, I don't think so.
Right. You got to do the work.
You got to do, life is an inward journey, and you got to be able to do that exploration. But what you need, or at least what I needed, is I needed the tools, I needed the new knowledge, and I needed a specific process to do it. And when you have those things together, the roadmap is there, and you just follow the roadmap, and just takes some time every day, and eventually, your life will totally be transformed.
Yeah. I feel like, as I've been on my own personal journey trying to get to, to vibrate higher and to just have a higher state of consciousness, that there are, like you said, there are miracles that happen around you. It's like, I feel like as you're slowly, because it's a slow process, right? And you like you said, you're learning more and more and more. And as you allow yourself to be open up to that and just like vibrate and like feel that energy of the universe and just kind of be in touch with what's going on around you at a very pure level, maybe, I don't know if that's the right word. there are miracles that happen within your life every single day, and that pure joy and peace where you can just sit with yourself, like doing the smallest tasks is going to bring you such happiness and joy. Just being present in that moment, doing them as you are on this journey, trying to tap into this transformation.
Yeah, no, and you're spot on. And we let our externalities drive our actions, reactions to life. And when you do this, you view differently. You realize that everything that you see is merely a reflection of your beliefs. You change your beliefs, you change what you see. And when you do that, when you do those two things, change your beliefs, you start to see the best in people. You start to see, you just want to be this embodiment of love and bring love to every situation. Yeah. It is a beautiful place to be. And I encourage everybody to do it.
Amen to that. Well, before we go, any last words of wisdom or advice you'd like to leave with the audience?
Yeah, I think that no matter where you're at, ill or healthy, happy, depressed, live on a mansion or live on the street, you can do this process. You don't have to, be having a miserable time and then the down and out and about to pull the trigger on anything. You can do this process. You just need to be open and willing to learn something new and to be open to it.
Yeah. And it'll only improve your life, not take away from it. So yeah, I'm loving it.
Yeah, so much more.
Well, you're a living testament. Like, I can't even imagine being in that spot, and that's the thing. Like, people can be wildly successful, but, we don't realize some of the stuff that might be going on behind the scenes, that they're not living their life they're not where they want to be, and they're not fulfilled. Like you said, living in a mansion on the street. I think sometimes some of these people who live on the street are happier than the people in the mansion, because it's just the value system might be off, and you never know what someone's going through, no matter where they're at, where they land on the totem pole in life, I guess you could say. So I'm loving what you're doing. Keep up the great work. Keep spreading your message, and love to have you back when you release that second book, so we can share it with the audience.
Well, thank you so much, Deanna. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so glad we had this conversation, and it was great to meet you.
To be continued, okay? Because next time I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna read your book, and I'm gonna tell you how much higher I've elevated and vibrated at my energy. Because, I'm still getting there, but that was a realization for me personally, like where I needed my life to go, because I couldn't keep living the same thing over and over again and getting in these bad patterns in my life with men, money, friends. And I had to make a change internally so that I didn't keep attracting that. So I've been on this for the last 5-6 years, and it's been a slow process, but it's been an incredible journey. And it has just brought nothing but fulfillment and actual pure joy and peace in my life. And I just I can't say that enough, because it's a great place to be every day when you wake up like that.
Absolutely. And you become this beacon of light to attract other people, and they're curious about how and why you got there.
All right, I want to be your spokesperson. All right. Well, we are done here today. Thank you for being a guest. Let us know when that second book comes out. We'll have you back, and we'll update the audience. So thank you, Neil, and look forward to that conversation.
Thank you so much, Deanna. You have a great day.
You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to follow, subscribe, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.